So this is a whole family operation. This is really
Oh
nice.
yeah.
How much is your dad involved with your burgeoning recording career?
Oh, well, I only have two songs out so far, and we've worked on both of those together. So, as of right now, we're collaborative partners and we like to write and record together. And yeah.
So when did you start recording?
So, my first song that I put out is called Lonely Christmas, and I recorded that in November of 2020. And um, it's a Christmas song. It just happened to be a Christmas song. It wasn't, I never went into it thinking, oh, like my first single is going to be a Christmas song. But my dad and I had the beginnings of Lonely Christmas, and we just knew that it would be a Christmas song. And it seemed like an appropriate year to put it out, because there was like nothing else going on and everyone was isolated and no one could see their families and it was around Christmas time and we just thought that it was very fitting for the time. And so we recorded it together and we did it mostly at home, and then we went into Milk Boy Studios in Philadelphia and finished a couple of our vocals just because it was the first time I've ever recorded and we didn't know how to record good vocals at home. So anyway, we finished up the song and we put it out in the very beginning of December, and yeah.
It looks great. And you got on YouTube almost 3 million hits, which is something that
Yeah.
a lot of us can't achieve. So that's a very big accomplishment. So congratulations
Thank
there.
you.
But going into that studio, how
Hmm.
did that feel? How many takes did you have to do? How was that feeling going in?
It was really exciting for me going in because I'm so passionate about music and it's such a important part of my life that I felt so excited to be able to go into a studio for the first time. And I recorded in the smallest room they had there. It was like probably could, it almost was like it could fit probably like five people if we crammed them in there. But anyway, so I recorded in there, and I think we recorded it pretty much in like 1 or 2 days. And at the time, I had been doing a lot of musical theater, and then I'd taken a break because of the pandemic. And then it was really kind of a blessing for me in a way though, because I think I've been enjoying music, like writing and recording my own music in a very different way than I connected to musical theater. And though I love them both, I feel like writing and recording my own music is definitely a path that is almost more connective for me because it's so personal and I get to share it with my family and my friends, and it's a little bit more, I can sort of mold the experience for myself and mold it around, the lives of my loved ones and whoever, because musical theater is such a, I don't know, it's such a large commitment of a lifestyle. And I mean, so is music and gigs and all of that, but it was just a different experience for me. And I was only 15 years old when I recorded Lonely Christmas. I'm 16 now, so I'm still learning and doing all of this. And but yeah, recording Lonely Christmas was just so exciting for me though, because it was the first time I'd ever recorded in the studio, and I felt so lucky to be able to do that. And my dad and I really wanted to make my first song, and our first song together, the way we wanted it, because it was something that we had worked so hard on, and spending we spent like a solid 2 weeks of just working really hard on it before December, because most people when they put out Christmas songs, they put it out at least, I don't know, probably around 3 months before is my
Yeah,
guess, because you need to give it the time for people
right.
to
It's
listen
got
to
to
it
adjust.
and find it and promote it and stuff. And since it was just our first song, and I put it out on sort of on a whim, like, oh, this is a fun song, it's an appropriate time to do it. The sentiment is something that I believe in. Like it's fun. Like let's just do it. And we shot the music video on my dad's iPhone, and like
Wow.
in the rain one day. It was such a like spontaneous song and experience, and then it sort of blew up on Reddit after we posted it on YouTube, which which drove everyone to my YouTube channel, and then it reached like 1.2 million views, and that just blew my mind because I was like, this is my first song I've ever put out. I did not expect this to happen. I recorded this video on my dad's iPhone just for fun, and it's like, just like this thing that we created together, and then it got 1.2 million views on YouTube, and Ellen DeGeneres reposted it on her Instagram and Twitter.
Oh, wow.
And we were like, what is going on? It was crazy.
It's great when these things just come out. And, but the nice thing is, though, is that you have the delivery system and it is able to distribute your raw talent out there, which before all this, you couldn't do that. So you're very fortunate that way. The unfortunate part about a lot of this, though, is that so many people could do this. Everybody's got access to distribute. So you
Yeah,
definitely
that's
stand
such a
out.
good point. That is such a good point because, you know, I feel like I'm so lucky to be born in a day and age that I have so many resources to create, like even just on my phone, I could record an entire song and film an entire music video all on my phone. And I do it all the time, like I record anytime I have a song idea, I just pull out my phone and turn on voice memos and record myself just, mind dumping into my phone. And same with GarageBand, and but with that, you're right. There's such an abundance of new content coming from every direction that it's like this large pool of endless art out there, which is great, but also like I don't know, it's like overwhelming.
It really is. It's good and it's bad. There's always a
Yeah,
silver lining to
pros
everything.
and cons.
So putting the song together, how did you write that with your dad? You say, "Hey, you take this line, I take that line. We just go back and forth." How does that collaboration work?
So he had started the beginnings of Lonely Christmas. He had a little track that he made on Logic, just because that was a passion of his, and he's always been involved in music throughout his life, just because that's always been his passion. And so anyway, he showed me this track that he had started on Logic, and I really liked it. And he was like, "Oh, I think maybe we should work on this. Like, I think it could be a Christmas song." And I listened to it, and I was like, yeah, I love it. Let's do it. Like, let's just record something and see where it goes. And, it's a little bit different than Lonely Christmas as it is now, of course, because it evolved. But it had all these different MIDI instruments and like effects, and a lot of it had changed throughout the process. But he had started with the foundation, and then I, went to the microphone and I just record some. I do a lot of like da 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 da
Mm.
da, just to figure out the melody and that type of stuff. And then we add lyrics. Often when we add lyrics, we're just sitting in the room together on our phones in our notes app, just writing down things and then just like saying it out loud to each other, going back and forth. We're like, no, 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 not that. Like, and then just like texting. Like our text threads are just like long lists of lyrics and notes to each other, and you know so we just like sit in the room together, and he'll come up with something. I'll be like, yeah, I love that. That's super cool. Or change this part. Or I'll suggest something, and he'll be like, oh, we can do something with that. So we just bounce ideas off of each other, and I feel lucky that we have pretty cohesive visions. I mean, obviously we have different perspectives because I'm a 16-year-old girl, and like he's my dad, and he's lived an entirely different life than I had, which I think is helpful when we write together because though mainly it is coming from my perspective, we're blending our both of our perspectives, of course. And yeah, I think it's I feel really lucky that we connect through music in that way, and that he's always been a great writer, period, not just in music. He's an intelligent person, so I feel like he's very helpful in helping me even put my thoughts into a more cohesive
Yeah.
format. And I have a hard time with organization sometimes, and I'm like, you know what, you help me. I'm a 16-year-old who's still like, my brain isn't even fully developed, so I can tell you all my lyric ideas, and you'll you know
It's nice to have that help and have
yeah,
a
it is.
collaborator like that. It's just
Yeah.
amazing. Somebody so young can really be able to do that. Yeah, I had insights when I was 16. I just started working and getting in the work world. But now that I'm so many years away from that, it's like it fascinates me to see young people being able to do what you're doing and to come up with the lyrics that you come up with.
Thank you.
How is it at high school? How's that being received at high school? People knowing that you have this out there.
Well, okay, so my middle school and high school experience was kind of unique because I went to public school for seventh grade and then I switched to a cyber program before the pandemic.
Mm.
So I did a partially online, partially in person school system where I did all of my main classes, math, English, history, science, all of those online, and then I went in person for music classes. And I did that for a couple of years, and then this year I switched back to public school for my junior year.
Oh wow.
So, and I'm really enjoying it. I think it's good for me to be around a variety of kids, and occasionally I will see people who have seen my videos or like have listened to my music before, and they'll, I don't know, like they'll either compliment me and say like I love your songs, or they'll say hi to me, and I love it when they do that. And it's funny, I was at lunch the other day with my friends and there was a girl across the room from me and she was like, "Wait, are you the girl that sings?" And I got so flustered for a moment because I was like, "Oh my gosh, like what?" And then I walked over to her, of course, and talked to her, but it scared me so much at first because, I'm just a kid at lunch. Like I'm like any other kid in the lunchroom who's just like trying to get through their day in high school, and then there's like these kids who I don't know who are like, "Are you the singing girl?" And I'm like, "Hey guys, yeah, that's that's me."
Yeah, it's that fame on that and on a different level just within your high school. But now, are you like really popular in high school, or you're just like you're part of the crowd and you just happen to be, all over YouTube? Are you very active? Do you do the morning announcement things like that?
No, oh gosh, no, I don't do the morning announcements. So I actually am doing a similar thing to when I went to the art school before, where I'm only going in person to my public school. There was like this program that I found to be super cool where again, I could only do my main classes online and then I could choose whatever classes I wanted to go in person for. So I'm going in person for two music classes and then I go for lunch and then I work in the library. And then the rest I do online at home.
Oh, cool.
Um, which is unique. And it's nice because I get to be with a lot of kids who like music because I'm going in person for those classes. But of course, in the lunchroom in the library throughout the hallway, like I'm seeing a bunch of kids that I still went to elementary school with, and in seventh grade I went to school with them too. So I still like know a lot of people there. But it's been nice to be social with people who are local because I have a lot of friends that live like 30 minutes away or 45 or in an entirely different state. But sorry, I'm getting a little off topic here,
That's
but
fine. I've got the time for it.
rambling.
It's good. It's funny how you can like go from one to oh yeah, that comes up with that. No, go one thing to the
I
next.
know, I get so distracted. Sometimes interviews are hard for me because I'm like, what was even the original question I was supposed to be answering?
It's fine. We'll just take notes. It's like, oh, getting back to that and constructing
Right,
your song.
circling back.
That's very neat. So that song's doing very, very well. And it's just getting any radio airplay, or you just get Spotify hits. How does
Yeah,
that work?
no, A Lonely Christmas has been getting radio airplay, and it actually was on Billboard charts. It was like number 30 in the adult contemporary category
Oh,
at,
nice.
at some point.
It's
I
some
forget.
other chart, yeah, where
Yeah,
it,
I don't know. Like I would have to look and give you like the exact
yeah, I
proper
think
way
that's
of
where the
saying
big
it. But
legacy artists go to have some of their hits. Like people don't want to buy their new music. It's like, oh, I always want to hear the old hits. And somehow this AC chart does very well for them.
right.
So
But
that's
that was pretty exciting for me because
yeah.
yeah, and then and we also added new cover art for Lonely Christmas this year, which was fun because the original cover art, my dad had submitted a screenshot of a video that we took, and there were highlighter streaks on it because he had cropped the screenshot, and it was so like again because we put out Lonely Christmas just because it was something that we enjoyed and wanted to spend our time on, but then you know, again, like it was shot on my dad's iPhone, and the cover art was a screenshot that had like weird streaks on it, and so, finally, I was like, okay, let's change that cover art this year.
Good. Well, that is always going to do very well. Like, Mariah Carey's songs always coming out every Christmas. Like, it goes back on the charts. It's just like it's the gift that keeps on giving.
Yeah, right. Well, that's the thing with Christmas songs is,
Yeah.
Christmas happens every year, so you never know how it's gonna do. But this year, I mean, it's almost at 3 million views now, which is crazy because last year was at 1.2 million, and the fact that it's almost at three is like, it's
Yeah,
crazy.
that's really, really nice. The local television paper, have they been covering you too?
Yeah, well, when it first came out, I had a lot of interviews for the first time, and oh gosh, they scared me so much though because I was like, what am I doing? Like I'm just a 15-year-old. I don't know how to answer all of these questions that people are asking me. I like I just put out the song. I have no idea what I'm doing. um and I'm still working on it, of course, but yeah, and I think Philadelphia Magazine and like some just a bunch of different articles like interviewed me on it, and it was all super exciting, and I just did a couple news interviews for the first time, and yeah, it's
That's
all very
great.
exciting. Thank you.
Yes. How far out from Philly are you? Abington? Is that the area where
Yeah,
you're at?
yeah, I live in Abington. It's about like 45 minutes to an hour away from Center City.
You're in the Philly area. That's really neat, and a lot of talent came out of there as well. Philly's got a lot of soul, so that might affect you maybe as you keep on with your career.
Yeah, I love Philly, and it's got there are tons of talented musicians in Philly, and I feel like the Philly music scene is pretty tight, and I feel like everyone eventually kind of knows each other in one way or another, and I feel really lucky that that I'm starting to join that and meet people in the Philly music scene. It's awesome.
You're in a great place. Is your dad in the music business as well, or is he what's his day job?
Oh, well, he he runs a translation and technology company called Globo.
Oh, there you go.
Yeah. So it's completely unrelated to music, but
Wow.
it's
I would
a
think,
it's
oh yeah, he's a big time music producer, and that's
nope.
really rubbed off on the kids. That's
Oh.
wow.
No, we're just figuring it out together, And he's always been passionate about it, and I've always loved it. And again, I grew up being surrounded by tons of musicians because my dad has tons and mom both have tons of friends who are musicians, and he was in a band before he had me and all of that. But he's not like a producer. Like I mean, now he is, but
Right.
he was never like trained to be a producer or went to school for it or any of that. But we're both figuring out how to be producers ourselves.
Yeah, it's about who you know, and having that network. Like you were able to get into a nice studio and get a good recording going. So it's about who you know in this business. And that could bring you very, very far. Uh, how did you grow up and getting into music? How did you get into piano? Are you playing piano?
Yeah,
Is
I
that
play
the
piano.
instrument? How did you learn that?
Well, I've always played a lot of music by ear. So I grew up just sitting at the piano and playing whatever sounded right to me and whatever came to mind. Same with guitar. Really, I looked up guitar on YouTube a lot and piano on YouTube a lot. And then I started taking, I know, right? It's amazing what you can learn on the internet. And and then I took a couple guitar lessons, not for long, but once I got, an initial couple guitar lessons, then I feel like I used a lot of YouTube. And yeah, but I got lessons here and there. I got some lessons for piano. I got some guitar lessons. More recently, I've been taking on drums, so I'm
Oh, cool.
I'm trying to be more versatile in all of the instruments I play, and hope that will improve my musicianship. But
Yeah, that's really awesome because I just find that you're like magicians to me because it's like how do you translate from piano to guitar and now you're getting into drums? It almost seems like it comes naturally in a way.
well, I feel like there is a sense of like my sister, for example, when she's she's 11 years old, but I can tell that she has a lot of natural ability because she, she had like we went to camp together one year, and she and I did a guitar lesson together, and they were like an hour period, 3 days in a row, and by the third day, she like surpassed everyone else in the class, and there were kids who were my age, and she's only 11 years old, and we had to like go in a different room because she just advanced so quickly, and it just comes very naturally for her. And same with drums, like she's better at playing drums than I am, and she's 11 years old, and she has all of these natural abilities. And I don't know, I think there is an element where it's like there is sort of an ear that can help you a lot with musicality. I mean, like you can work really hard at it too, but I think I feel lucky that she has that ability, and that I feel like I have a sense of what I want to hear, and I feel like that definitely affects musicality a lot.
Great. So your sisters help you on these tracks. Now they're both younger than you?
Yes, they're both younger than me. Soleil is 11, Marin is 14, and they don't really write anything in the tracks, but we record their harmonies. So they come in and
Sweet.
they'll sing harmonies that I love writing harmonies. So I'll sit in the room with them, and I'll, you know, plunk out the notes and have everyone sing it until it sounds right, and then we'll record them.
Very impressive. Really. I hear a little bit of saxophone on this track.
Mhm.
Who's playing that?
That is Jay Davidson, and yeah, we love putting horns in our songs because I feel like it adds an element of, I don't know. There's something about the horns that give it such like a blaring quality and elevate the emphasis of, especially of the ending of songs. I like when songs gradually get bigger and have a big ending. And yeah, but we worked with Jay Davidson on that, and he did a great job. That was, the first time I had ever worked with a session musician before, and especially in COVID, we didn't really get to see anyone, and we were all masked up, of course. But um, even just getting to watch session musicians always blows me away, and it's so exciting. It's like you get to watch a live performance right next to you.
Awesome. Oh, saxophone really adds such a dimension to songs, and they don't do that very much these days. It was very big
Yeah,
in the 70s and 80s, but I
yeah.
love a good saxophone in a song.
Me too. I love when it adds sort of like a jazzy quality too, and we also wanted it to have a little bit of a homey feeling where it was like saxophone on the street. Like I always love when you're in the city and there's someone who's like playing music outside, and that type of vibe. And then also like Saturday Night Live, you know how it has the like saxophone like ending and all of that type of stuff. I don't know. It gave us a warm energy that we liked.
Beautiful, beautiful. So, and you recorded another track. Is this the one called Another Day? Is
Yes, it's called Another Day. And yeah, that was the follow up to Lonely Christmas. That's the second single that I put out. And we recorded that right after Christmas time because everyone was saying, like, when's your next song coming out? So we were like, oh my gosh, like, we gotta get something out. And that was the next closest thing to being done. And we recorded. We recorded a lot of that actually in Miami because we were in Miami, um, and we had we had to sort of figure out how we were going to write the song while we were in Miami because we didn't have all of our materials that we had at home. Like we didn't have all of our MIDI instruments, and we didn't have like really a proper mic with us or anything. So my dad and I sat in like this little living room that we were staying in, the place that we were staying, and we just sat down and wrote the majority of Another Day. And then my and also since it was COVID, like we couldn't go anywhere really, and my dad was like, oh, I wonder if there's somewhere that we could record this. So he called Criteria Recording Studios, and he just was like, hey, we've got the song that we have to record, and we were wondering what the situation was at your studio. And they basically said, like, oh, yeah, we don't really have anyone scheduled to record here because, COVID and it's like around the holidays, whatever. And we're like, oh, if no one's in there, then that's pretty good because then one, it will be like relatively safe because we won't get close to anyone. And two, like we got to get this song done. So it's really our only option. And so anyway, they said, oh yeah, like you can come in. We have some session musicians if you need them and whatever. So we went and recorded there, and that was like me going to Disney World as a kid because that genuinely was like one of the highlights of my year. I was like, this is the greatest thing ever, and just being able to record like in such a cool studio, and it had so much history. And we worked with an engineer named Carlos Alvarez, and he was like, "Oh yeah, the Bee Gees recorded in here," and I was like,
Wow.
what?" He's like, "Oh yeah," and like Nicki Minaj was here in like that studio the other like a couple weeks ago or something like that, and I was like, "Excuse me?" Like I was like, "What? Like this is
Oh wow.
insane!" And yeah, that was just so exciting for me. And then we recorded me and my sister's vocals, and we recorded the little horns section of that as well. And yeah, and then it was really exciting, and then we had to stop recording because there was someone else in the studio who got COVID. So we were like, all right,
Oh,
masking up, getting tested, all of that. Like we need
yeah.
to make sure we don't have it. We need to make sure we're not spreading it, all of that. So essentially, that was the story of how Another Day was recorded, and then the rest of it, we just wrote and recorded at home and on our computer.
Beautiful. It has a jazz pop and Spanish rap
Hmm.
vibe to it. How did that come? It was just the vibe of being in Miami. Is that what's kind of influenced it?
Yeah, the Spanish part in particular, Miami definitely influenced that. And I have a lot of relatives who speak Spanish, and I have some relatives who live in Argentina, and yeah, I thought it would be fun to incorporate some of that. And I'm not a fluent Spanish speaker, though I would love to be one, and working on it. But
Didn't
um,
take it in school or in the
no,
middle of
I did, but it like it's only like the fundamentals. It doesn't really. I'm not
right.
like fluent enough.
Use it or
Spanish.
lose it if you're yeah.
Right, right. I know. It's a lot of memorization. Then I'm like, what happened to that? Anyway, so also Carlos Alvarez, who we recorded with, he recorded a lot of like famous Latin music, and he won a couple Latin Grammys, and he also speaks Spanish. Was like, oh, you gotta keep the Spanish part, and then he was helping me with pronunciation and making sure that I said everything correctly,
Cool.
and my dad, he's involved in translation, right? Like with his not related to music work, and so and he loves language, and so we all just thought that it would be the right choice, and we were like, oh, this is kind of a fun ornament we can add to the song because it's like, wait, what is she saying? Like, what is like that's Spanish? What's going on there? And we like sort of adding those unexpected, almost like random moments because it gives something else and like piques a different curiosity in some type of way. And I've had a lot of people be like, what does the Spanish mean? And or people who speak Spanish be like, oh, I love the little Spanish part. Like I look forward to it, and that makes me really excited too. And oh, sorry, there's like something in my eye right now.
Yeah, it happens to all of us. You get dry eye at this time of the year. It's
I
just
know. My hair is like in my face. um, But anyway,
yeah.
we like to incorporate a lot of genres into our music because I find a lot of inspiration from different places. I love, rock and roll and pop and rap and jazz and, any way that I can take from my inspirations and blend those genres. That's often like how the end result comes to be.
So you just like everybody. Is there anybody in particular who inspires you?
There are a lot of people that inspire me. I love Lord. I love. Did
I
you see
saw her
Lord?
live.
I listened to a podcast episode, and I heard that you saw Lord, and I wanted to ask
Yes.
you about that. I really
I
did.
didn't
I was
even
like,
know. Yes. I happen to because I love Global Citizen. I don't know if I mentioned that to whoever I was talking about that with, but they I won tickets to her show. She played around the corner from me
No
here.
way.
Yeah,
Oh, that's
yeah.
so fun.
The arena my daughter graduated high school from here in Gwinnett County,
Oh
Georgia.
my gosh, really?
Yeah, yeah. We were just like totally impressed. My girlfriend and I went, and
Uh-huh.
Killer Mike opened up for her and Mitski.
Oh my gosh, really?
Yeah, it was
Wow.
really,
Oh,
really.
I'm
We were
so
just blown away.
jealous. I'm so jealous. I'm actually supposed to see Lord this year coming up, but hopefully it doesn't get canceled because of COVID. I'm like praying that it still happens because I've been dreaming of seeing Lord because she's like my favorite. When did you see her, or like what album was she
Few
doing?
years back, I want to say almost 5 years now.
Oh wow.
I
Oh
like
my
that
gosh.
song Green Lights, where they do the
Yes.
confetti all over the place.
Oh my gosh, I love
I
that
still have
song.
the confetti.
Oh, really?
Yeah.
Oh my
Little pieces saying
gosh.
green light on them. Yeah.
Oh, that's so fun. Oh my gosh. Oh,
Really,
that's
really
so
good
fun.
artist. Yeah, yeah, I
Yeah.
highly recommend. Well, it should happen. And are you playing live? Are you out going, playing the cafes or the stages and stuff?
Yes, I actually have done a lot of live gigs this year, and I'm going to be doing some more next year. I mean, not in the next couple of weeks, but I've got some planned for after that. Um, and yeah, I performed in Christmas Village in Philly recently, and I've been doing a lot of local gigs. I performed at like some local bars and just what's going on around me. And yeah, I've been really enjoying it. I love performing live. That's really one of my main loves, and it's nice being able to connect with people in that way, you know?
Yeah.
Especially after being in quarantine for so long. But yeah.
Yeah, yeah, it's nice to see people getting back out there. I think we're just going to be living with this kind of nasty virus, and it's just,
Yep.
I think right now, if you have the Omicron, you probably feel like you have the flu or cold. So hopefully, it's won't knock too many people out at once, and we can
Hmm.
carry on.
Yeah, it's crazy. We're
So
all
some of the
just trying.
lyrics in Another Day, which I love this refrain. It's pennies in my pocket, holes in my pants, denim blues, just want to dance. Who came up with that nifty little riff?
So, okay, funny that you mentioned that. That line literally was 5 seconds. It was just like it just spur of the moment. I was standing at the mic and my dad was like, "Okay, sing something over this part." I was like, "Okay, like just give me a random lyric just like for fun." And he was like, I don't know. Uh pennies in my pocket, got holes in my pants, white shoes, denim blues, I just want to dance. And I was like, "Okay." And I just sang it, and then we just heard it so many times that we're like, okay, I kind of like it. Let's just keep it. Like it's fun. It's I don't know. It's like lighthearted. It's sort of positive. I don't know. We just grew to like it, and then
Uh,
that ended up being what we kept.
Does the melodies for these songs they just come into your head? Or are you getting them on the keyboard or guitar? Is it just a little of both?
I feel like the melodies happen often after we have the foundation of the track, and then I'll just go into the mic and I'll sing whatever sounds right to me, whatever comes to mind, and I'll just take a bunch of takes and then I'll listen to them and I'll say like, oh, I like that one, or scratch that, or whatever. And then once I have the melody in my mind, then I'll sit at the keyboard and I'll record some harmonies, or I'll just record my own vocals and I'll just sing my own harmonies like live, and then we'll pick whatever sounds right and make our edits that way. But yeah, I've always loved writing harmonies though. That's always been something that feels natural to me, and I think that's really one of my favorite elements of it is getting to record all of the harmonies. I think it's really fun.
Yeah, we need a return to that. So I like the saxophone. I love the harmonies. This is such a 70s kind of thing. I remember first stumbling on the Eagles when I was a kid. It's like
Mhm.
these guys are just amazing at harmonizing. It's just if you listen to this track called Seven Bridges Road by the
Mhm.
Eagles, it's like whoa, these guys are just like perfect. And you see them live and it's like they're just reproducing what they did
Mhm.
in the studio. It's what a gift. It's just nice to
Mhm.
see somebody being able to come and be able to bring that back. Um,
Yeah. Well,
yeah,
thank you. And
yeah.
I do really love it. And I think there's something so incredible about harmonies that it's just so satisfying, you know, when you hear a crisp, like clean harmony, it's so pleasing to the ear and like I don't know, harmonies make me like ascend.
Yeah,
I connect with
tons of
like
chills.
vocal harmonies, something about them, and just make me like go into this spiritual land. I know that sounds like what are you saying? But truly, that is how I feel.
Yeah, yeah, it does. It sends these chills up your spine, and the
Yeah.
listener really gets absorbed by that.
Mhm.
So, what are you working on now? Are you going to plan on doing a full album or an EP at some point, or just do singles and get those out there?
So right now, the next thing that I have that will come out is a song called "Wildflower," which is a cover of a song by The Cult, sort of
Oh,
reimagined. And yeah, and it's a bit different, but it's a song that my dad and I always really liked, and we thought it would be a fun one to put out. And then after that, I've got a bunch of singles that I'm working on, and who knows, they might be combined and put into an EP or an album, but I've got a lot of content that I'm working on, and the release date for all of that is to be determined. So,
man, that's fantastic. And you're in your junior year now?
hmm.
Nice. That's
Yep.
that's a tough year. That's from what I remember my daughter went through. Went through AP history. Talked about a push AP US history.
Oh yeah,
Oh my God, this is so hard.
yeah.
Yeah, that's a tough year. But beyond that, are you thinking about just getting right into the music business, or do you want to go to college and do that on the side?
I'm still figuring all of that out right now, and everyone keeps asking me about that, and I'm like, you know what? I cannot give you a solid answer.
Yeah,
I'm still
yeah,
figuring it out.
yeah. You take it day by day, and you when it comes more into focus towards the end of high school, I would think that you're going to be like, okay, yeah, I'm gonna go on the road or take a gap year or
Right, right.
something like that. Which
Hmm.
would be a great idea. And there's nothing wrong with a gap year. And if you
Yeah.
just want to explore what you're doing, just maybe work and, explore the singing on your own. There's nothing wrong with that either.
Yeah, I feel like it's really like personal because I feel like the path for each person is very different. I think sometimes college is really great for some people, and then for other people, like sometimes it's just, not practical for their lifestyle, or it's not what they need, or. And I've been talking to a lot of different people about that recently, and I find it really interesting to see what everyone has to say because some people feel really passionately about college, and other people are like, it's not for everyone. I know people who haven't gone to college and they have really successful careers because of that,
Yeah.
and other way around as well. So, I'm still figuring it out and taking everything day by day.
So have you gone to any other concerts when you were younger in the Philly area, or just you really haven't gone to arenas or stadiums yet?
uh like I've gone to see other people. Is that what you're
Yeah.
at?
Yeah.
Yeah, well, my first concert was at sort of a local theater, and I feel like I was probably around 10 years old maybe, and we saw the Go-Go's,
Oh, wow.
and that was fun. And my little sister, they brought her on to the stage, and we're like, we need to get this kid some earplugs. And so they stopped the whole show. They got her some earplugs. Then my little sister was dancing on stage with them. It was really fun. And yeah, and then I've gone to a decent amount of concerts. Usually those are like the things that I ask for my from my grandparents, like for Christmas when they're
Yeah.
like what, and I'm like, oh, I really want to like see this person live. And
Nice.
yeah, so I've more recently though, I saw Phoebe Bridgers, and then I went to the last day of Firefly Music Festival, and I saw Lizzo and Sophie Tucker, and yeah.
You get some good
Those
stuff
are
in
my
the
more.
Philly area. It's
Yeah,
true.
yeah.
Wow.
And then I like it
And
for like local musicians, just whoever is
yeah.
playing. Yeah.
Oh, absolutely. Absolutely. Got to see the locals, and that's where they need the support too. Is just
Yeah,
getting
of course.
need. Are you going out? Are you driving yet since you're at 16 now?
Yeah, I just started driving. Yep,
Yeah.
I got my license probably like half a year ago. And yeah, I've been driving a bit. I'm a little bit, I don't know, it makes me a little nervous, but I'm doing my best.
Yeah, I was so nervous my daughter first got out there. I mean, just
Mhm.
this a little thing. I'm like, oh my God.
But it is nice. There is a sense of freedom, obviously, that comes with driving, where it's like, you don't have to wait for somebody else to bring you somewhere. You can just
I know.
go yourself, and there's definitely something nice about that. It makes me feel more adult.
It's true. That freedom does come with that. But yeah, it can be nerve-wracking with the other people out there on the road, especially you get snow up there too. That's
Yeah.
yeah. Cool. Well, it's so nice speaking with you. I had a great time.
Thank you so much for taking the time to speak with me. I appreciate it so much. And I loved hearing that you saw Lord. I genuinely, when I heard that, I was so excited. I was like, I have to ask about that.
Yeah, she was a great surprise and so incredibly talented. I love her music. It's just really amazing. Really is. Well, so great to see you. And best wishes.
Thank you so much, Rob. I appreciate that.
Take care. Have a good one.
You
Bye-bye.
too.